Hi there. In this video, we will talk about the conditional and iterative statement. And mainly, we will talk about the if and else conditions. To give you a snapshot of what I'm going to address in this video is first, we need to talk about the concept of programming and how programming will help us to do control structure in our code. Then we talk about different types of instructions. The first one is sequential, the second one conditional, and the third one iteration, which I will cover it in another video when we talk about while condition. Then we talk about Boolean expressions, strings, and substrings. And for each one of them, I'm going to show you an example on Google Colab to help you to better understand each one of them. First of all, we need to think conceptually about programming because it's a language that can help us to resolve different issues in real life. And to do that, we need to structure the code to flow certain type of executions to help us to resolve the problem. And to do that, we put different statements, and one of it is if statement. If something happened, do something, or if it doesn't happen, don't do it, and so on. And this is what we call it a structured programming, and it's the paradigm aimed to control the flow of the execution. How the execution happens, as you can see here, it might take one of the three models. The first one, sequential, which goes one step. If you do it, do the second one, the third one, and so on. The second one, selection, and this is what we mean by if statement. Here in this diamond shape, we are supposed to make a decision. And the decision should have the answer of either yes or no, or true or false. And if we have true, what is the next step? If it's false, what is the next step? And then we come up here to the conclusion. The iteration, which we will discuss it in another video, is we make a loop. We're supposed to make a decision. If the answer of the decision is yes, we come up to the conclusion. But if it's no, then we make this step and then we go back to repeat the decision. So this is the reason we call it iteration, because we keep going in this loop until we find a solution. And as I said, I will mention this part of iteration in another video. Now let us look at a very simple code of how to run a sequential code. And as you can see here, we make a function, and the function name, it's the sum of two numbers. We assume the first number is going to be 5.37, the second variable 2.46, and we say the third step is add number 1 plus 2, and then we get the number. This is a very simple code, and we don't usually use this in our course, but I'm showing you how the sequence happen in programming. But now let us look at our second point, which is the decision making. And here we need to keep in mind the symbols. We use it for the mathematical calculation, because in Python, it differs than what we do it in the normal calculator in a few symbols. First of all, greater than or equal. In Python, we take this shape, but in reality or in mathematical calculation, it takes this shape. The same thing for less than or equal. When we write the code, it has to be in this shape, but in reality, it has to take this shape. But now when we come to equal, we know if we put the equal sign, in reality, it means something equals to something else. But how we put the sign equal in Python coding, we put two equal signs, as you can see them. Not equal, we put an equal sign with a slash, but in Python, when we do the coding, we put exclamation mark equal. The same thing here, this is in the textbook. You can see which one of the expressions are correct and which one is false here, like 3 is less than or equal 4. This is the way it should be written. But if you put equal and then less than, then you will get an error message. And the same thing here. when we divide, we say 3 equals 6 over 2. Here we have to put 2 equal sign to test the equality. If we put 1 equal sign, it means we assign something to this variable. So when I say 3 equals 6 over 2, and I put 1 time equal sign, it means I assign 6 over 2 to variable number 3. But it's not a mathematical calculation. To do the mathematical calculation here, we put 2 equal signs. The second thing, we don't put the instructions here and then the variable name at the end. It has to be the other way around. You see here, we put all the variables first, and then we put all the calculation on the right side. The second thing here also, when we make the calculation, we say 10 is higher than 5. Why it's an error here? Because 10 is an integer, but if you put it between quotation signs, it means it's a string or character, which will be rejected by Python. So what you need to know from this table is how to write the code in an appropriate way that it will be accepted and run. The same thing here, we need to put 2 equal signs, and the same thing for the instructions. Now let us look at the first code. We make a very simple function, which is, we call it if exercise, and we put the variable here, a equal 5. If a is less than 10, we get the print out 5 is less than 10, and then we print a statement after this statement, a statement after if statement. What you need to notice here, I made a very simple code to show you how we write if, but we don't see else, because if else, it means if we make a decision and we get true, then we go to one way. Otherwise, we go to the other way. Otherwise, it means else if. And here is the first code that we need to know. So we say if first condition happen, then we go to the first statement, which is the first part. If second condition, then we go to the second statement. If third condition, we go to the third one. And at the end, we put else, and we get all the answer if we couldn't satisfy the first 3 conditions. So here is the first code. If exercise, I assume the age is 30. And in this exercise, I'm defining the variable before I run the code. In another exercise, I will ask the user to put any number. But in this short exercise, I assume that the variable is going to be 30. If the age is higher than or equal 60, then we get a print out senior discount. Otherwise, if the age is less than or equal 18, but less than 60, then we get no discount. Otherwise, we print here junior discount. And here you can see the code on Google Colab. And here I put the age 30 and I run the code, I get no discount. If I change it and I put, for example, 15 and I run the code, I get the answer junior discount. If I make it 62 and I run the code again, then I get senior discount. So what you need to know from this short exercise, how to write the code if, how to define the variable, and how to write elif or else if, and then how to make the different print out. Now let us look at another example, which is the income. So here we are going to ask the user to enter the annual income. And then based on that income, we calculate the tax amount. So here you can see we ask the user to enter the income in form of float. Float, it means that it has decimal numbers. And then based on that income, we start calculating the tax. So let's start here, run the code. It says enter the annual income. I'm going to put like maybe 50,000. And then we get here the answer 8,000 444. You say how the taxes has been computed. First, we take the taxes, it's less than 85. Here it is 50. So what we do, we take the income multiplied by 18% minus 556. And I will show you in the next example how we calculate it for single and married. But for the time being, to make it short, I put the result of the calculation here, 556. But how about if the income is higher than 85? Then we multiply it by 32 because this is the next tax bracket. And then we add the fixed amount, 14,839. And then we calculate the tax and we say the tax amount is so and so. So if you want to try it again, you can put it here, for example, 95,000. And then it runs 17,870. It means it takes the amount between 95,000 and 85,528, the difference between those numbers multiplied by 32, plus the balance, which is 14,839. So here, what we're trying to show in this example is how to use if and else. But now let us make it a bigger example where we will have LF several times. And in this example, I use the grade from 5 different classes: accounting, finance, stats, marketing, and management. And then we run the code. First, it will ask for the score in accounting, and I'm going to put here lump sum number 95. Then the score in finance may be 73. The score in stats may be 42. The score in marketing may be 60. The score in management may be 80. Then what's going to happen is the system will calculate the total scores from all the 5 classes, then get them in percentage, and based on the percentage, allocate the grade, whether A or B or C or D, from all the 5 classes. So let me show you here. So first we get the result in float, so we can get decimals. Then we make the instruction to add all the scores, then divide them by the total, which is 500, to get the percentage. Then we get the decimals here, 0.2f. It means the answer will come in 2 decimal points as a percentage of the total. And then we say, based on that, we try to measure this score, the average, against the scores we have it here, 90, 80, 70, 60, 40 for the different grades. So again, my point from this example is to show you how to do F and LF. Now, let us go to the next example, which we call it nested F. What does it mean by nested F? As you can see here, I put F and LF at the beginning of the line. It means this LF will be computed if we couldn't find an answer for the first one. The second one will be computed if we couldn't get an answer in the first and the second one. And we keep going like this. But when I say nested F, it means within F, I put another F. So let me show you here. If the person is single, so here is the first F, then we check the income. If his income is more than 32,000, then, less than or equal 32, we charge 10%. So the nested F, first we say if he is single, because it could be, he could be married, and under single, the income. If the income is higher than or equal 32 or lower than 32. And under each one, we put different brackets. If he is single and the income is less than or equal 64, we put this bracket. More than 64, we take the following bracket. So this is what we mean by nested if. It means we have if under if, as you can see here in my code. So under the first if, I put another if. This one we call it nested if. And this one is a bit complicated, but it's good to know how we can do. So here I put the code. I say the first rate is 10%, the second one 25, and then we put the limit for the single 32, for married 64, and then we prompt the user to put the number. And based on the entry we take it is we calculate the taxes. So let's check it here. If I say enter your income regardless of your marital status, so I will put here 35,000. And then enter S or M, so here I will enter S. And then we get 3,950. How it was computed? First, we get the first 32,000 times 10%, and then the 3,000, which is more, the difference between 35 and 32, we multiply it by 25%, and then we add them. So here you can see, if marital status equals to S, means single, and then if the income is less than rate one single limit, which is 32, then calculate the tax by multiplying the tax rate by the income. Otherwise, get the difference multiplied by the higher rate, which is rate number 225. So when you see F under F, it means this is, we call it nested F. Now let us look at the Boolean expression. Boolean expression here, we talk about true, false, yes, no, 1 or 0, and so on. And here I created this example to show you what we mean by Boolean expression. So let us run the code, enter a number. So I'm going to put here number 5, for example. And the second one may be -7. Then look at the answer. The first number is higher than the second one because it's positive. And the two numbers have different signs. One has positive sign, one has negative sign. Look here, so here we ask the user to enter X and Y, and then we say assume X is equal to Y, then we print the two numbers are equal. But here, if X is higher than Y, then we say the first number is higher and then we lower. But look here in the second one, this is what we mean here by Boolean. If X minus Y is higher than minus 0.01 and X minus Y lower than 0.01, then we say the two numbers are close. And here we say the two numbers have the same sign and then they have different signs. So what you need to know here, Boolean, I say if something happened, the answer will be one of two options. And this is the reason we call it Boolean expression. The last point in this video is strings and substrings. And what we mean by strings, here I used to give you in my previous videos very short text, and we call it a string. But now you need to know in real life how we work with strings. We might have a huge file that we will not be able to fix it or examine it with our eye to read everything and remember everything. So we can put it on Python and then start working with it. So what I did is I took an abstract from one of my papers and I tried to show you the different codes that we can take it from this long text, and it could be longer. So here I created a string, I call it abstract, and then I tried to show you the different functions or methods that we can use it with this long text. So here, let me run the code. And then I say, in this long paragraph, if you find the word the, then tell me I got it. Otherwise, say it's not there. And of course, if you look here, you can see that the fifth or the sixth word is the. So here I got the answer, I got it. Now, I need to know, because remember when you run the code, the might be at the end of the paragraph or in the middle, which will be hard for you or I to catch it. So you can use this method here. I call it abstract find. Where can I find the in the whole paragraph? you see it's number 29. So if you start counting from here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 29, you see it's the beginning of the word that. So find, it will tell you where you can find this word exactly in the paragraph. The next one is count. How many times the word the has been mentioned in the paragraph? 15 times. The next method is starts with. Does this paragraph start with despite? The answer is true. Then another one is ends with. Does the paragraph ends with no? Of course, if you check here, the paragraph ends with society. So here we get the answer is false. Then does the paragraph is only alphabet? Is alpha, it means has only alphabet? No, because if you check here, you see that the paragraph has numbers. Not only that, but the paragraph has spaces. So you see here, despite, space, scats, of, space. So it has alphabet, it has numbers, it has spaces. So this is the reason I get it false. But now look here. Does the paragraph is alphanumeric? The answer is false. And you might say, why? Because it has spaces as well. Alphanumeric, it means only alphabet or numbers without spaces. Now, is the paragraph has lowercase letters? The answer will be no, because some of them are capital, some of them are lowercase letters. And this is the reason if I click here on uppercase, the answer is also false. So all these methods will show you what can you get from the paragraph without reading the paragraph, where to find a specific word, how many times this word has been counted, the beginning, the ending, alphanumeric, lower and up. But the last two methods is to change the paragraph. So I say abstract, it changed to lowercase. It will write the whole paragraph for you, but all of it, it will be in lowercase. And of course, the opposite way is to make all of it in uppercase. So here, upper, and you will see that everything is in uppercase. So in this video, I was trying to show you the if and else statements, the Boolean expression, the strings and substrings, and I hope you find this video useful. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.